Georgetown's coming to the Smith Center this weekend. It's a retro game, and we felt like there was no better way to celebrate the retro game than by doing one of our favorite things, which is talking to a member of one of the most exclusive clubs at Carolina, and that's the National Championship Basketball Club. So we've got Jimmy Black, who knows a little something about beating Georgetown, the point guard from the 1982 championship team. And Jimmy, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be with you, Adam.
Catch Tar Heel fans up a little bit on what you're doing now, and then let's talk about some Tar Heel history.
Well, I'm trying to get my two young sons to become young adults and quality members of society. That's my number one priority. And I'm still working. I own a distribution company, so that keeps me busy. And trying to be the best husband I can be. So those are the things that keep me busy these days.
Full-time job trying to get those kids going the right direction, Jimmy.
Well, I think they're all three of those things that I mentioned a full-time job, right? I have 3 full-time jobs.
Let's go back. Let's go back to 82 for a little bit, and then we'll talk about coaching career and all those different things as well. But I'd be interested, Jimmy, just what was it about Carolina when you made this decision, where you were going to school? What was it about Carolina, Coach Smith? What was the factor that led you from the New York area down to Chapel Hill?
Well, I was fortunate. I had Al Wood and Dudley Bradley took me out on my trip. 2 great players, and not only that, 2 great people. And then I got a chance to meet the rest of the team. And, Randy Wheel, rest in peace, he just passed away. Jed Dalton, Dave Colescott, Michael Corrin. I mean, you're talking about some of the best people. And once I got around them, I knew this is where I wanted to be. And then you throw in Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge and the staff, that makes it even better. So it's a great school, and certainly the tradition speaks for itself.
What was a recruiting visit like in the late 1970s? What'd you do? I'm assuming y'all didn't just sit around and watch your YouTube highlights.
No, YouTube. Are you kidding me? I don't think YouTube was available. I know it wasn't available back then. We didn't have a cell phone back then. What did we do? I came in on a Friday night, went out to dinner, hung out with Al and Dudley. They took me around campus and introduced me to football players and friends of theirs. Saturday morning, we had breakfast. Saturday during the day, the same thing. They introduced me to a lot of different people. And then Sunday, I had a couple of appointments on Saturday as well with the Dean of Studies, Dean Renwick, the admission people on campus. I had a meeting with them as well. And then Sunday morning, I went to church with Coach Smith. And Sunday afternoon, I was flying back home.
What was different about the way that Coach Smith recruited you compared to some of the other places you were looking at?
Well, you're talking about class. Everything he did or the program does is class personified. And that separates North Carolina from a lot of schools. And I certainly felt that and wanted to be a part of that.
Jimmy, there are just such a long list of incredible point guards that have played at Carolina through the years, but they all said it wasn't easy to be a point guard, especially early in their career. When they were trying to learn just all the different things that you needed to know to be the guy at that position on the court. What was that like for you as you tried to kind of digest all that information and be able to be the leader on the floor that Carolina and Coach Smith needed you to be?
I agree with all the other players, all the other point guards. Certainly, it's a lot of information that's different from your high school days, because in high school, you ran up and down, and you for most of the time, were the best player. And then you get to college, and there's some great players, not just good players, great players on your team. And now you have to absorb all of the different sets and all of the different defenses that Coach Smith wants you to run. So there's a little adjustment period in there. But at the end of the day, you do it enough. Repetition is the key. And fortunately, I didn't have a better teacher than Coach Smith. I mean, that was his classroom, and that's what he did. He taught us how to play the game of basketball.
Did you ever get frustrated?
Early on, you do, because, when they throw a double team at you and you're throwing the ball all over the place, that's not a lot of fun. But you adjust and you learn to take your time and try to get the ball where you need it to get to. But early on, it can be frustrating, yes.
How much did your point guard skills improve when a guy named James Worthy showed up from Gastonia and you could throw the ball over to him on the wing?
They got tremendously, 100%, Adam. And then you throw in there a guy like Al Wood. You're talking about a guy named Michael Coyne, and you become a better point guard immediately.
Tell us something about Al Wood. I feel like he's one of the Tar Heels from this era that people don't know as much about. What was it like to be on the court with him, and what was he like as a player?
Al was a great player. No one worked harder than Al Wood. And I agree with you, Adam. I think that he is overlooked amongst all of the great North Carolina players. Al's, I guess his strong suit was shooting. And Al had one of the best jump shots of any player that's ever played in North Carolina. But on the flip side of that, Al worked his tail off every single day. He didn't take any time off, any seconds off. He came out to practice as hard as he could every single day, and that translated to playing well once the game started. It was an absolute pleasure to be a teammate of his.
So what's the scouting report on Jimmy Black then as a Carolina player?
A good young guy that came from New York. Nobody had ever heard of. And I got an opportunity to play against the great Phil Ford, which certainly helps you get better. He taught me a lot. Played against Jed Dalton, Dave Colescott. These guys were two of the people that no one ever talks about, but they were very good point guards in the North Carolina system. So I learned from them as well. And then when it was my turn, fortunately, things worked out well.
Michael Jordan was talking about the rock the cradle dunk recently, and he said, I actually learned that from Al Wood during some summer pickup games in Chapel Hill. You've played in some great pickup games, I'm sure, in the Bronx. What were these Chapel Hill pickup games like? And did Al Wood ever teach you the rock the cradle dunk, and you just decided to let Michael have it?
Well, I let Michael have it. I let Al have it. I let all those guys have it, Those things are reserved for big people. But no, I've seen, in pickup games, you see so much. You see the talent that each player has because you don't want to be embarrassed. So you have to go out there and play hard. Otherwise, these guys are pros. These guys will make you look bad. So the pickup games is where we all earned our medal. And it was a lot of fun just playing in those pickup games.
Could they compare to the games in the Bronx?
Well, it was a little different because in the Bronx, everyone wasn't a pro. Here at the University of North Carolina, a lot of these guys are pros. So the game has stepped up a little bit. But in the Bronx, I tell you what, we have some good players as well.
Jimmy, everybody knows the 82 title, of course, but some younger Carolina fans may not know how close you guys were the year before in 1981. Tell us a little bit about that team, what made that team special, and what allowed it to get all the way to the national championship game.
Well, that was a fun team. It's ironic. Someone just asked me about that Indiana game just the other day, actually. And that year, I thought we were the better team. People don't remember that. I think it was in December. We played Indiana in Chapel Hill, And I don't know what the score was, certainly, but I know that we won the game. So I thought we were the best team that year. Unfortunately, all of us didn't play our best game that night. If you remember, the president of the United States, Ronald Reagan, was shot that afternoon. And CBS or NBC, I don't recall at this time who it was, but um, they canceled the game. So we were prepared to go out and play. They came in and said they're going to postpone the game. And then we were back on the bus heading back to Villanova where we were staying. And one of the network executives came back on the bus and said, we're going to play the game. Wow. So we had to get prepared twice for the same game. Not that that's an excuse, because Indiana had the same dilemma. But we didn't have our A game that night. And I wish we would have, because I truly believe that we were the best team in the country that year.
And talking about Al Wood, he had an all-time performance in the Final Four game, right?
He did against Virginia. I think he scored, I don't know if it was 39 or 41 points, something like that. Yep. He was unstoppable. And, the next night, I think he would have, or the following night, I think he would have done the same thing, because we all felt confident going into the game. But unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way. And that night, Indiana was the best basketball team.
As Jones mentioned, I think some younger fans might not believe this, but after that 81 game, Coach Smith was taking some criticism. What kind of criticism was he getting, and what steps did you take as a rising senior leader to make sure that would come to an end?
Well, I think prior to that year, he was taking criticism because I think they went to the Final Four in 77 as well and didn't win. And, Coach Smith always took heat for that. They said he couldn't win the big one. But we, as former players, all knew how good of a coach he was. So winning the championship didn't change him becoming a better basketball coach. But to answer your question, after we lost to Indiana, we sat down as a team and a group, and we decided that we were going to do everything in our power to try to get that monkey off of his back. And fortunately, we dedicated ourselves to that season, and we came away with the championship at the end of that year.
Championships are so hard to win, and the best teams don't always win it. I mean, you said it yourself from 81. That was certainly a championship-worthy team, and it just didn't happen. What is there anything that you can put your finger on that allowed 82 to do it when a team like an 81 or a 77, a great team that you reference, wasn't quite able to get over the hump? Or was it just kind of how it played out?
I think it's how it played out, to answer your question, Jones. But I think part B to that is everyone needs to stay healthy. And we were fortunate that everyone stayed healthy that year. We didn't have any major injuries. And then, you have to have everyone on the same team. And everyone focused on that single goal. And we had everyone focused on one single goal. And like you said, we were very fortunate that it worked out for all of us.
Of course, in that summer and fall, a guy named Michael Jordan shows up. Wasn't quite good enough to make the Sports Illustrated cover with you, but still turned out to be pretty good. What did you first see from him that made you think, okay, this guy's going to be he's no Al Wood, but he's going to be a solid addition?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because he was like Al Wood. He worked his tail off in practice every single day. And he got better and better and better and better as the season went along. And, we all saw at the end of the year, he wasn't a freshman anymore. He was ready to be a college basketball player, and that's what he displayed out there. And he just continued to get better. We all know the end result, but he worked his tail off, and everything that he has gotten, he deserves, because he put in the work.
Jimmy, everybody knows the Georgetown game. Were there other moments in that season that you think about and you think, man, that was an important moment, or that was an important win, or boy, us bouncing back from this was really key? Were there any kind of waypoints throughout the year that you felt as a player and now looking back on it that were really key?
I think, that was so long ago now. I don't have all of the particulars, so excuse me if I'm off a little bit. Please forgive me. But I think the defining moment during that year for me was we went down to Wake Forest, and I think they beat us by like 20, if I recall. And I think that was one of the two losses we had that year. And that was a wake-up call for us because we had been playing well up until that point. And then we go to Winston-Salem, and they beat us pretty good. So all of a sudden, that gives us a chance to redirect and to refocus our energies into the goal that we set prior to the season starting.
That Final Four is one of the all-time Final Fours. You've got North Carolina, you've got Patrick Ewing in Georgetown, you've got Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler at Houston. What do you remember about that weekend in New Orleans and playing in the Superdome and everything that went with being in the Final Four that year?
Well, we were there the year before, Adam. So all of the fanfare and all of that stuff we didn't pay attention to. The year before, it was new, but that year it wasn't new. So all of the fanfare and all the stuff that goes on the periphery, we could care less about. All we did was focus on the task at hand, and that was to be the champion. And fortunately, it worked out well for us.
The game itself against Georgetown, I mean, there's just so much about that game. Patrick Ewing with all the goal tens early on, and James Worthy dunking on Sleepy Floyd in there. And do you have anything that stands out to you? I mean, everybody remembers the end, but do you have anything else that stands out to you when you think about that game?
Well, it was just so much fun to participate in that game because you knew that Georgetown didn't have any quit in them, or we knew that. So we knew that they were going to play hard, they were going to guard us hard, they were going to try to intimidate us early, and that's what made it fun because we had to be on top of our game. And everyone withstood all of those things from Georgetown and went out and continued to play. And, fortunately, Michael made that shot at the end to get us over the hump.
One of my all-time favorite Carolina basketball pictures came from that game. It's a Hugh Morton picture after the game, and it's you and James Worthy and Rick Brewer and Coach Smith in what looks like maybe like you're waiting to go to the post-game interview room. And all four of you look like you lost the game. You just look completely exhausted. Do you remember this picture? And if you do, what do you think about when you think about that picture and being in that room?
You're right. We were waiting to go to the post-game interview. I think we all had our own thoughts. I was thinking about a lot of different things. First of all, we were fortunate to get to accomplish the goal that we had set for ourselves. That was the number one thing. Fortunate for all of the fan base and all of the former players from North Carolina, because that's the first time we had won a championship since '57. And that was a big deal. I thought it was awesome. And I wanted all those guys to know that they contributed, even though they weren't on that particular team. Those guys were awesome. And I wanted them to know this is not just for us. This is for all of us collectively. And then I was thinking about, damn, I wish I was at Chapel Hill. Because I knew that town would never be the same. And when we got home the next day, I looked around and I said, boy, this town will never be the same. It was interesting to see all the graffiti and cars turned over and all that stuff. But it was just a lot of fun. Like I said, not just for us, but for all of the people that had been waiting for that for such a long time.
Can I go back to the game for just a second? Two things. Do you remember the huddle before the final shot and kind of what was said and how it all played out? And then do you remember when Fred Brown threw the ball away? What occurred? What was going on in your mind when this was occurring?
Yeah, the last huddle, I mean, we prepared for whatever defense they were going to throw at us. We figured that they would play zone, and coach was right. They played zone. And we just had to run our offense. Everyone had to execute. Hey, let's execute this thing and get a good shot. And fortunately, everyone did that. And we got not only a good shot, but a great shot. I mean, Michael's wide open and he knocked it down, and that will forever be remembered. And then Fred Brown throwing the ball away, Jones, it was a shock initially. But there was so much going on. You know, we were running around in a scramble defense. A lot of us were out of position, if I remember correctly. But he threw it to James, and then I think everyone was shocked. And I just recall James going down to the other end, and they caught up with him and fouled him. And I don't remember, did he make the free throws? I don't recall.
No, he missed them both.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's just a fun side story now, Jimmy. It didn't matter.
No, fortunately, it didn't matter one bit. But I tell you, see, I don't remember him missing the free throws, to be honest with you. But
Because you were thinking about being in Chapel Hill.
yeah, that was part of it.
South Franklin Street.
That was part of it.
What made Coach Smith so great in those huddles? You were in so many of them, the championship game and numerous other games where things either looked bleak or were tight, and he somehow told you what was going to happen, and then it happened.
Well, you know, this I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier. The basketball court was his classroom, and everything that could happen on a basketball court, we had seen before because of the way he prepared us, because of the way that he saw the game. He was an innovator himself, and a lot of that, fortunately, was passed on to us. So anything that could happen, we had seen before, and we weren't shocked by anything. Although I was stunned by Fred Brown throwing the ball to James. But from a basketball standpoint, there's nothing to this day, there's nothing that can happen on the basketball court that I hadn't seen before.
When you did get back to Chapel Hill, I think the welcome home was at Keenan.
That's correct.
What was it like to walk into Keenan having done something that you had been talking about doing for a full 12 months? And what was that 24 to 48 hours after you got back to Chapel Hill? What was that like?
It was really surreal. It was surreal. I mean, everyone was upbeat, so excited. You know, it was a feeling of elation for everyone. I mean, you saw somebody in the street, they were excited. The stadium was obviously elated when we got back. That was awesome. And it was just everyone felt good. And that's a good feeling to see such joy amongst so many different people.
That's not easy to do. And a lot of people say they want to do it. They say, hey, we're winning a championship, or that's everybody's goal. But to set it and to do it, especially now that you've been a coach, you've gone through decades of your life since then. When you look back at it and think, what do you think? I mean, to set a goal and to achieve it is so easy to say, but harder to do. Have you gained an appreciation for it the older you've gotten?
You know, it's funny. I don't even talk about it. I mean, my friends will tell you I don't talk about basketball at all. And the only time I talk about it is when it's brought up to me, and you guys are refreshing my memory now as we sit here and talk about it. But, you know, as I look back on it, it was a tremendous accomplishment. And I'm more proud that it was for all of us, not just the team, like I said, but so many people had been waiting for that. I mean, 57 to 82 is a long time. And there's a lot of people that had come through during that time. So those people wanted to win the championship too, those teams. And I was fortunate to be a part of a team that did it for all of the people that had come through from 57 to 82.
Jimmy, I would think people would be surprised to hear that you don't talk about basketball very much anymore.
Very seldom.
How
Very
come?
seldom. It's just, it's not really a part of my life anymore. I talked about it when my kids were playing basketball, when they were playing AAU, but I didn't talk about North Carolina. I was talking about their game. Hey, man, you should have guarded that guy a little harder, or you could have made another bounce pass or something like that. But very seldom do I talk about the accomplishments at North Carolina.
Well, we want you to come back to the Smith Center sometime because I think Tar Heel fans would really like to love on you a little bit and show you how much they appreciate what you did for them and for Carolina basketball, because it is something that, I mean, we're sitting here talking about it 40 years later and made a big difference in people's lives.
Well, I certainly try to get up there as often as I can. And I look forward to trying to get up for 1 or 2 games this year as well. But this team, I tell you, they're exciting. They're a young group, and they're passing the ball to each other and running the floor and guarding people. We may be up there for another celebration. I hope that happens.
This time you can be on Franklin Street.
And I will be. And I will be.
Who do you like to watch play? When you watch somebody play, who makes you say, that's how Jimmy Black would have done it right there?
Well, oh, boy, that's a tough question. Like I said, I very seldom even watch basketball. But I did watch our team the other night. I tell you who I used to really enjoy watch play is Kendall Marshall. He was a fun guard to watch. I mean, he passed the ball like not many others. He was a very good passer. And I remember watching him and saying, man, he makes the game a lot of fun. And now, I think Marcus Page did the same thing. I mean, he made the game a lot of fun. But, all of the point guards since I've been there were all great players. I mean, we can go back to King Rice. We can go back to, you don't want me to name them all, do you?
It's my fun memories.
Yeah, Ed Cota was great.
I was going to say, but see, I'll miss somebody, and then I don't want anybody to be mad at me. So,
yeah, Kenny Smith's calling in right now, wants to know why you did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kenny, that's where I think Jim Braddock, Kenny Smith. I mean, we can go all the way back, but all of those guys were great in their own way, and they all added so much to the Carolina basketball program. So I'm proud of all of them and look forward to watching this team try to achieve their goals.